And welcome back to this week's episode of the Broken Kid Podcast. Today is going to be a different episode because unlike most episodes, this one we're going to try to be bringing the energy. In a moment of existential crisis, I'm almost 23, about to turn 24. I have been hating my life. I got pulled over by the cops about a month ago. I hate my job. I hate the people I work with. It feels like I have a 3-year-old stepping on my chest, I feel like I'm on the verge of having a heart attack, an aneurysm, a stroke, some sort of reaction to ongoing stress. And I feel like I'm going to die, which is why I decided to come on to this podcast and try to uplift not just my spirits, but hopefully and anyone watching this. Hopefully you guys can take something away from this. But with the shit show of a week that I've had, let's get the show on the road. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have anything. If you want to, we probably won't sponsor anything, honestly. With all the fucking... Why do people sponsor so much bullshit that they don't know? They sponsor G Fuel. They get sponsored by all these brands. But going into the next topic of... the main topic of this podcast, of this episode, is going to be don't take life too serious. Because as I've learned, you can have... It's so interesting. So I got pulled over. I was high as hell. I was smoking indica. I was high as hell. I'm at the stops. I'm at the red light, and there's a car in front of me. And it turns... We see the green arrow, and this is when I thought... I didn't know what had happened, because I had never really crashed into anyone before. And I, let alone, didn't think that my first crash was going to be a crash going 2 miles an hour. Because the girl in front of me, she never... The arrow turns green, so I go. Because I automatically assume green means go. But she didn't go, so I ended up hitting her. And she ends up calling the cops as soon as she ends up smelling the weed in my car. And it turns into a whole debacle. Now, you can imagine, I'm high as hell. This is already ruined. I'm tripping. I don't even know what to do. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to jail. And I'm talking to the cops, and I'm trying to be fully transparent. And I'm telling them everything. I'm even telling them my darkest secrets about how I, watch tranny porn. Hashtag tranny porn. How I watch The Human Centipede, and I actually think it's a family movie. How I actually think it's a great movie. Although I will say this, and I was talking to this with a local barista about The Human Centipede, about how that guy just shouldn't be allowed to hold a camera whatsoever, ever, especially at birthday parties for kids, because first of all, that movie rides the back of, well, it rides, of course. I mean, nobody gets ridden on in that movie, but it rides on the whole concept of sexual assault. And then if you think the first one is bad, wait until you see the second one, because they do it to like 15 people in a shitty warehouse. The third one, I haven't watched it quite yet, because I know they do it to a full prison. These are people. It doesn't matter if you're against pedophiles, you're still getting fucking sexually assaulted. But I was telling this cop everything. But going back to the barista, I told her this, and she was having a good time. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to kidnap people against their will and tape their mouth to their ass to mouth, as they say in the porn industry world. You don't have to do that, because what you could do, this whole thing could have been avoided very easily. If you just put a post on Craigslist for casual encounters, men to men to, for all genders, whatever it is. And she thought, that's true. And that way, you wouldn't have to sew anyone together, maybe. It wouldn't be so permanent, but that. But, I'm telling the cop everything. And the lady over this is bad. This whole interaction was bad because it made me realize that I can at least act sober while I'm high. And there's always that talk about weed, how weed isn't that bad for you. And, to some degree, I kind of see it. But I was able to do the sobriety test and I was able to pass it. And they knew I was high, of course. You know, that's what the whole issue here is, that I smoked weed while under the influence. Well, that I smoked weed and got into a car because I had smoked it in my house. I'd smoked it in the parking lot in my house. And I remember just thinking, wow, my life is over. But nope, it wasn't. They let me off on a warning and I had to go to driving school. And, you know, it was so weird because I was high as hell and I was turning this into a whole comedy bit. And I'm talking to the cops. I'm asking, they're like, they didn't know that I was actually telling the truth. So when they asked me what movie I was going to go see, I told them the Nightmare Before Christmas because it's in 3D. And they're like, oh, okay, he's not bullshitting. And then they were asking more questions. And they asked me if I'd seen this movie, and it became a comedy bit. And somewhere out there, if I ever become famous, there's footage of me being pulled over high as hell, being forced to do the sobriety test, and that shit happens, right? So there's that story. I survived that. That I thought was going to be the worst moment of my life. The next thing is I hate my job. I went to, I hate it. I fucked up. I got yelled at the phone because I forgot to reschedule an appointment for someone who was bound to come in. And when I didn't call them and we closed the shop, they still came in. This was a new customer, by the way. This lady ends up writing a bad review. She ends up calling me the next day. And she ends up telling me, I don't know what the problem is, but it's my first appointment there, and I just want to know why. I stood there for 30 minutes. I called and called and called, and no one was there. I want to know. And really, I honestly don't understand why the whole point here is that you're not a recurring customer quite yet, but you're trying to get something from a shop. If you were rejected from a shop and you try to go back there to make an appointment, I don't know why you would be so forceful about it and adamant about getting your appointment. You were fucking wronged. Yeah, now fuck off. And here's the other thing. Don't take life too serious because I hate my job. And I'm probably going to quit tomorrow. And just know. If anybody out there who is struggling, do not take life too serious because you won't make it out alive.